All right, this is the 5,000 subscriber live stream. I tried to do it from my computer, but for some reason wouldn't let me use my camera. All right, welcome to the 5,000 subscriber live stream. I appreciate all the support in getting to this point. The intent of this live stream is to show my gratitude, so I'll answer any questions about jump rope, nutrition, fitness, whatever you want to ask me. You can ask, and I'll do my best to answer, or I'll point you in the direction of the place where you can probably find the answer. But there's really nothing off limits except for religion and politics. Those are two things that I'm not willing to discuss on this channel at length. So I'll monitor the chat. I got about an hour, so I'll monitor the chat and I will answer your questions as they come in. Hopefully you can hear me. All right, I'm doing this on my phone because my computer, the camera, YouTube and the camera weren't getting along. So you can type your questions into the chat and I'll answer them. All right. Go ahead, Tina. Good to see you. Trying to move this over here. There we go. That'll work. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's been kind of a long road to get to 5,000 subscribers. I don't really think that subscribers or views or anything like that is something that measures the quality of the channel. So I've never been tied to how many subscribers or views or money that the channel makes, because I knew going into this that you can't do stuff like this, like YouTube, or you can't approach anything by trying to chase externals like money, subscribers, all that stuff. YouTube is generally a crapshoot. There are some people who get success, however you measure success on YouTube, relatively quickly, and that's great for them, for sure. Much respect to the folks like Peter McKinnon. Peter McKinnon is a videographer, YouTuber. He got to 1 million subscribers in less than a year. That's highly abnormal, but there are people who do it. But if you go into it thinking that that's going to be the norm and that's going to be what happens to you, then that's chasing some pretty lofty expectations to set yourself up for failure. So I've always tried to do it because the videos are helping people. And all we're really looking for as human beings at the end of the day, I think, is to add meaning while we're here on this earth and to leave better than we found it. So I hope that the videos help do that. That's my measure of success, is to leave YouTube and leave, spend the time I do have here to leave it better than I found it. So I hope that the videos do that. But I appreciate the note about the 5,000. It's good to celebrate. It's good to celebrate the small victories. Thank you from Crete. Is that Crete? Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. I have suspected there is greater stress on my body when I stop jumping than when I continue. I would agree with that. I think that if you're doing longer, if you're doing longer sets, then or you're doing more sets, then it's probably going to be more stressful on you. So I would try both strategies, and whatever works best for you, I would say would be the best way to go. Ultimately, you don't want to injure yourself. Exercise is important. Exercise is important for a lot of reasons, but if you take it too far and you push yourself past what you can sustain, then it can be problematic. So just test out different ways. Maybe you want to do less intense, or maybe you want to go in the direction that was giving you less trouble on your body. But I think experimenting with different types of exercise methods is the best way to go, and then stick with what works best for you in the way of avoiding what you think will injure you. Yeah, the bolt. You bought both sets of cross ropes. That's good. Cross Rope is a great company. I think they're a great company. I like Crossrope mainly because of their CEO, Dave Hunt. He's a great guy. And all the interactions I've had with him, they've all been pleasant. And I think that he truly cares about what he's doing out here. As far as I think that Dave, like I was saying earlier about just wanting to help people, I think that that truly is what Dave's mission at Crossrope is to help people out. Same with the other Dave Newman at excuse me, RX Smart Gear. I think those two guys are probably the two pioneers of the premium jump rope space, and all they want to do is help people at the end of the day. So I like both. Both Daves are great guys. But Crossrope is a good company. Definitely had a lot of good success with Crossrope. Consistency, thanks a lot. If you haven't checked out Consistency is Key, check out that YouTube channel. He is a good guy as well and has some good workout videos out there. Let me check the chat. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate your support. And I hope you're enjoying that Elite SRS jump rope. After a year and a half, that's the trouble with this thing. Let me read this. Well, that's good that your body is getting used to it now. I'd say you just need to keep going, and then your cardio will get used to it as well. But I think that the only way that your cardio gets better is if you try to push yourself past your limit for cardio. So it's the same with running. If you run the same distance every time at the same speed, then your cardio will get used to that same distance and speed. But if you put it up maybe 0.1 mile per hour, then you will get a little bit better. So try to do maybe faster double unders or more double unders to try to get your baseline, increase your baseline. I see Nate KG in the house, another great guy and jump rope legend. Nate, great guy. He was on, I haven't done a podcast episode in a while, but he was on one of them. He's very knowledgeable. I think Nate and I have a lot in common, but the one thing in common that I like is that we both are Tim Ferriss fans. Tim Ferriss is a big influence in my everyday life as far as finding different hacks to improve mindset, to improve physical fitness, all that. If you haven't checked out Tim Ferriss, I think that's great. He's a great author. And also, if you haven't seen Nate's channel, you should check it out as well. I think he definitely does have a YouTube channel. I know he's more active on Instagram. So you can follow him on Instagram and Facebook. Not Facebook, YouTube, sorry. There's so many social media options out there these days. Yeah. It's a good thing that Tim Ferriss started young because I think he's still relatively young. I believe he's in his mid 40s now. So he's already got a whole body of work from back when he was in his 20s all the way up till now. So it's fortunate for all of us that he started writing books when he was in his 20s and 30s. And he started the podcast a while back. No, I haven't tried the AmPro. I think AmPro is a British company, but I haven't tried the AmPro yet. That's not the first, you're not the first person that's asked me that. A couple people have, but I think the only place you can get it is in England, and I'm sure that the shipping is pretty rough from England to the US. Yeah, no problem for the shout out. This isn't a zero-sum game out here on YouTube. It's always good to find other channels and then to put people onto other channels. I think someone did a super chat there. I really appreciate the update. I mean, not the update, but the donation. Thanks. That means a lot. Yeah, you can ask pretty much any question you want other than religion and politics, and watch right when I say that somebody will sign on and probably ask me a question about politics or religion, but those are the only two things Oh, Nate, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Oh man, the thing updated. Well, thanks a lot, Anders. I appreciate that. Yeah, no problem, Mel. Thank you. Nate, thanks a lot, man. I'll send you a message on Instagram. You and I need to link up. As far as future videos go, I think that people have liked the army lifestyle slash workout videos. So maybe some more of those. But right now, I got so many jump ropes that I've been focusing on doing 1 and 2 year reviews to give people updates on how the ropes have performed over time. So I've done, what have I done on that? I've done the cross rope get lean and get strong set, the 3 year review of that. That one was pretty popular. People enjoyed that one. What else? I did the Elite SRS Boxer 3.0 last week, a 2 year review on that. I think people generally appreciate seeing how the ropes perform over time. I know that I have a lot of ropes, so the ropes might degrade faster than what I put on my review because most ropes I have I only use once per week now, if that, because of how many ropes I have and because like anything else in life, the Pareto principle, the 80/20 rule applies to my jump ropes as well. There are 20% of the jump ropes I have, I use 80% of the time. So the ones that I'm normally sticking with is the RX Smart Gear Original. What else? The rhythm rope, the cross rope get lean set, the cross rope bolt, and the other RX Smart Gear double under ropes, the Evo Free and the Evo G2. The other ropes I have, I still use them, but they would fall into that other 80% that I use 20% of the time. So more workout and storytelling videos and more 2 year, 3 year, 4 year reviews will likely be my plan for future videos. But if anyone has any ideas, I'm always open to hearing and seeing what kind of videos you want. Crowdsourcing the ideas or crowdsourcing the videos is always a good option because I can't think of everything. I can't think of every video. So if you have a type of video that you want to see, just let me know. All right, my grandma and my mom are watching from Canada. That's great. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate that. Tina, yeah, actually, I gotta go up one question to Hafiz. You're having trouble with the double unders. Any tips? Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do for double unders. I'd say the best way is to just keep practicing. One thing you can do is get a rope that's not gonna hurt when you mess up. That can be discouraging and painful at the same time. I think that one great way to learn, if you want to look for a tutorial, I'm going to shout out Dave Newman again from RX Smart Gear, is he has a lot of videos that are centered on learning double unders. He's broken it down to a science. Dave Newman from RX Smart Gear. So I'd say get on YouTube. RX Smart Gear has their own YouTube channel. Get on there and look for Dave's double under clinics because that's what he specializes in. I think that Nate has some videos as well on double unders. I have a few videos. Just watch the videos over and over again and then get out there and practice. There really are no secrets. One tip that I remember watching back when I was learning actually came from Dan from the jump rope dudes, and it was actually one of the better tips I've heard is that when you want to swing hard for the first one, and then you want to swing, you don't want to swing all that hard on the second rotation. That may have been one of the best tips that I have heard. And I'm not sure if Dan came up with that or if he got it from somewhere else. It doesn't really matter. But he had, the Jump Rope Dudes had that double under video. They probably published it like 4 or 5 years ago. That was great advice. That was great advice. So respect to Dan for that tip there. I'd say that's probably the most helpful tip out there. Make sure you have a decent rope for it. If you're trying to learn double unders, I wouldn't start with a speed rope. I would start with probably a 5 millimeter PVC cord rope so that you have the weight, so that you have the weight of the rope and you can get the proper feedback. If you go right in with a rope like the RX Smart Gear Evo G2 or the RX Smart Gear Free, or even the Crossroad Bolt, those are all too light to start, in my opinion. Some people might disagree with me, but if you start with a lighter rope, or you don't have the coordination down yet, and you start with a lighter rope, it's going to be really difficult to get the coordination and the rhythm and the timing necessary to do double unders consistently. All right. Let's see. Tina, will you do any more interviews in future videos? Yeah, it's tough because I might just have to start having repeats on there. Like I might have to reach out. I'll probably reach out to Nate to see if he wants to do another discussion because it's difficult to coordinate people. Everybody has busy schedules, and I think with podcasts especially, podcasts are different from regular videos that I'm doing because it's just me. It's just me. The only schedule I have to coordinate is my schedule and my spouse's schedule. Those are the only schedules I have to coordinate. I don't On the weekends I don't really have all that much going on, and then on the weeknights once I'm off work I don't really have all that much going on. But other people and everybody actually has a lot on their plate. So there's been times, and this might surprise people, but more times than not, most people either they don't answer the messages that I send them, or we never make it happen because they're too busy. I don't think it's because they're blowing me off or anything. They're just too busy. So it is difficult to coordinate people. I think I've done 13 podcasts so far, and those were 13 times where everything came together and the stars aligned and people's schedules were good to go and we could make it happen. But more times than not, that doesn't happen. It can be difficult to coordinate folks. It can be real difficult. I remember I did try to get Glenn from Rope Rage on there, and he had, just for an example, he had a ton. I would like to get Glenn but he had a ton of projects going. He was in the middle of writing that book that he just came out with. Actually, I still need to get a copy of that to support him. But that's just an example. And he was like, "Hey man, I can't do anything right now. Try hitting me up next year." And I just said, "Oh, I'll just let you be. If it's like that, I'll let you be because you got your projects going, and that's more important than doing an episode on a podcast." So so I think unless you're Joe Rogan or you are Jocko Willink or a major podcaster, it's difficult to get people nailed down and to coordinate schedules for sure. And that's not a knock on anybody else. It's not a knock on anybody else. It's the world is busy. Everyone's got obligations. People have kids, families, and get being on a podcast episode will fall to the bottom of their priority list rather quickly, especially if they have a lot of obligations. I actually tried to get, there was this girl that she's my sister's age, my older but younger sister's age. We lived on the same street growing up, and she had recently gotten sober I guess she had had a lot of problems with drinking with alcohol. And I saw her, I was following her on Facebook and I tried to get her on and I just couldn't make it happen because of how busy she was. And I would have loved to hear her story about how she was able to overcome her alcohol addiction. I think that a lot of people would have benefited from that. And I was trying to diversify and get some people who weren't necessarily interested in jump rope, but were interested in health and fitness. I'll see if I can still get her on, but I like to take I like to take the hint that when somebody says is having trouble making an engagement, that they need some personal space and they need some time. So hopefully I'll be able to do some more interviews in the future. I would really like to. And if you all have anybody you'd like to see on, let me know and I can reach out to them. If Nate is still on, I did reach out to Jimmy over Instagram and he's got a ton of followers. So he never got back to me and he probably just didn't see the message. But that's the kind of stuff that you run into when you try to get people, especially people who have a lot of followers like Jimmy, when you try to get people onto your podcast and you try to get interviews. So that was a long-winded answer of saying that yeah, I will definitely try, but I tried to open up the hood to let you know what goes on and trying to coordinate people because it can be difficult. Yeah, Nate, we'll have to do that. Yeah, I need to use something. I need to use something for that for sure. Bob, Tic Tac, and Anders, thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. I think I have used Calendly before, way back in the day, for something else, but I can't remember. All right, Nick. All right, glad to see that you've gotten some good jump ropes there for sure. Let me see. Dream projects. Yeah, that's a good question. Let me think about that one. Maybe some documentary type deal because I've been trying to improve on my editing. So I think a documentary featuring a lot of the folks who either have channels or who are actively posting, maybe traveling around and doing a documentary, interviewing people on site. So I would say so for Nate it'd be traveling to traveling to California and doing on-site interviews and jumping with you, visiting Dave. I think as far as the jump rope dudes go, I believe one of them is still in California and the other one moved to Miami. So hitting up the one jump rope dude in California and then going out to Miami and doing something like that and filming footage for a big documentary and even traveling to Europe and doing something along those lines and interviewing folks in Europe. That would be cool to see that. But sticking with the United States first, just to interview all the people, and it wouldn't even have to be people who are posting all the time. Just regular people, regular folks who post in the crossrope community who I've known for the past 4 years. That would be fun. All right, Tina, thanks a lot. I appreciate your support. Thanks for joining for this time. All right. Yeah, I think that would be fun to visit. Yeah, Greece would be a good one. Haven't never been to Greece, but I've heard great things about Greece. But yeah, travel log slash documentary, that would be cool. That's the first thing that comes to mind, I think. Yeah, you're right. It's not just the influencers. You're right. That's a good lesson to learn. And when I said regular people, I didn't mean that as a slight or anything along those lines. I would say people who, instead of saying regular people, I'd say people who are not YouTubers or influencers or however you we want to classify. The skill kit. I'll have to look that up now. I don't. Yeah, exactly. People who don't try to optimize their posts. That's right. That's a good way. That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah. Let me see what that is. Oh, okay. I see that. Yeah. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever heard of that before. I'm gonna have to do some research on it, but I think that this is, yeah, this is a testament to how deep Dave Newman has dove into teaching and decomposing how a double under should be performed. Hmm, interesting. All right, let's see what we got here. I think the chat is slowed down. Feel free to ask any questions or anything along those lines. Let's see. When you consistently do long sessions, when you can, I think the question is, do I do long or regular? Probably both. I don't do anything with a regular rope. I don't do anything less than 3 minutes. And nothing less than three. Most of the time it'll be five at this point. If it's a weighted rope, around 2 minutes, 2 minutes or so. But anything under 4 ounces, it's normally 5 minutes long at least, sometimes more. And there's going to be some side swings in there. For me, a side swing at this point is like a rest. It's a rest because you don't have to jump over the rope. Well, I think there's value in doing short sprints of jumping. And I also think that there's value in doing long jumping, just like sprinting versus doing longer runs. Let's try to mix it up a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good question, Nate. I think that I don't normally do too much. I've started doing the rings more now that it's warmer out because in Michigan in the winter, I don't have a pull up bar or anything like that. So I have to use the tree outside my garage. And in Michigan, it is not impossible, but it's going to be fairly uncomfortable in the winter time to use the rings because it gets down to into the negatives, even in southern Michigan and southeast Michigan. But I've started using the rings a little bit more now, and I was tough. It was tough to stop because the rings are much better than any other calisthenics exercise I've done. So bringing the rings back in, doing a lot of isometric holds and archer push-ups with the rings are good. But as far as jump rope goes, just still doing the same stuff, continuing to incorporate double unders anytime. I think that's for me, that's the most beneficial jump rope move in the way of cardio, endurance, and overall physical fitness. The double under is probably the best move out there, I think. And still using weighted ropes. I still use the Arc Smart Gear Chronos and the cross rope heavy ropes. I use those. The only new thing is bringing the rings back in. The latest with the diet, that's a good question. The diet is mainly avoiding refined carbohydrates. That's the real key, I think, for me. I think that carbohydrates have been demonized. All carbohydrates have been demonized. I think it's important to understand that the research shows that carbs are not bad for you, even though there are no essential carbs like there are essential fats and proteins. But it's the white bread, the white rice, especially the sugar, the sugar, the and especially high fructose corn syrup. That's the stuff that you just I do my best to stay away from. If I'm gonna have anything like that, it's gonna be once per week, and it's gonna be on the weekend, maybe on a Saturday or Sunday, but not often. That stuff is not good for you, and it's responsible for a lot of the health problems that we see today. There is more and more research showing that saturated fat, meat, that it has absolutely nothing to do with, or very little to do with, heart disease and heart attack and cardiac arrest and all the problems that people have been blaming saturated fat and dietary cholesterol for. The research is really beginning to show that that's truly what's to blame is eating too much sugar and refined carbohydrates. So I do a lot of reading. The latest book I read on diet was Jason Fung's Obesity Code. That is one of the better books that I've read on physiology, diet. That was an excellent book. And it's easy to see now why Dr. Fung is so famous. That's an excellent book. So I'm going to try to read more of his books. But it's generally avoiding refined carbohydrates and sugar. I think if I do that, and I started creeping up there in weight last summer. I got up around 155, and I really wasn't watching my carbohydrate intake. So now I'm down to about 145 again because I started cutting out all the stuff and doing a low carb eating pattern. Other books out there that are helpful. Anything by Gary Taubes is good. He's not a doctor, but he's a scientific journalist. He's written a ton of good books, mainly centered around refined carbohydrates and the ketogenic diet. I think if you use the word keto at all, people automatically won't listen to you. So I try not to even talk about keto or try to use the ketogenic diet because I think that people don't like that word for some reason. It's almost like a curse word. People will not listen to you if you talk about keto. So I try to use the term LCHF, low carb, high fat. But Dr. Fung's book is good because he doesn't demonize carbs like a lot of doctors do these days. He just says you need to avoid sugar and refined carbohydrates, particularly high fructose corn syrup. And the reason why you got to do that is because table sugar is half glucose and half fructose. But high fructose corn syrup is 55% fructose and 45% glucose. And the problem with fructose is that it can't be metabolized anywhere except for the liver. So that's truly what causes fatty liver disease, is that it's too much fructose and the liver doesn't know what to do with it, so it creates fat out of it. Yeah, Peter Attia's podcast is. I haven't listened to any of his podcasts on sugar, but Peter Attia is a great resource for health. He's another one. The speed step training, man, that's going to be tough. I need to get one of those. I need to get a short rope, and I'm gonna have to bend down and do that. I don't know. I'm starting to get old. I don't know if I want to get into that. Robert Robert Davis. I think Robert was one of the first people to ever subscribe to the channel back in early 2019. So thanks a lot for sticking with the channel, Robert. I really appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. My friend Ryan is on, my battle buddy from the 101st Airborne Division, and now turned successful YouTuber. If you want to check out Ryan's channel, that's his channel right there, Intermittent Fasting with Ryan. Great channel. He's making some major moves on YouTube out there, helping people out with intermittent fasting and making videos with him and his family. It's a great channel. I still I still watch Ryan's videos. They're awesome. So if you want specifically, I do intermittent fasting, but I don't do a lot of material on it anymore. But if you want a channel that is specifically geared toward intermittent fasting, then Ryan's channel would be up your alley. If you have seen Thomas DeLauer's channel, it's similar. It's along the same line. It's the material's different, but it's the way that the videos are edited are different, and some of the material's different, but it's going to be along that same type of channel. Excellent channel. Hey Nova, yeah, I remember. You're right. Everything in time. It's true. Yeah, the super heavy ropes, man. I think that it depends on what you're trying to do. I know for me, the 2 pound rope is about the most I can do comfortably. And the longest I've been able to jump with a 2 pound rope is probably a minute. But I'm a smaller guy. I weigh around 145 pounds. So I think a bigger rope, especially those monster ropes that you see from Crossrope, the 4 and the 5 pounder, I think that if you're a bigger person and you have more muscle, I think those could be beneficial for you. But for me, the 2 pound rope is my limit. But Ryan, you're a bigger guy than me, so I think that if you want to try one out, whether it be from Crossrope or one of those battle ropes, I'd say to go for it and see how you like it, especially if you're trying to build muscle. See you later, Anik. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Yeah, thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. Yeah, the bending, all I have a reference for is those kids I see on Facebook or YouTube who they they bend down and they're going so fast. I don't know how they're not tripping over the rope. I know Brandon, I had Brandon on this podcast, on the channel's podcast. I think he was episode 6. I think he won the championship in his age group years ago in that. And I've watched his video and yeah, it's I don't even know if I can move my feet that fast without jumping over a rope. So a lot of respect for that. You can't seem to get any momentum. I don't know. I think you got to see what kind of rope you're using. You might not be using a very good rope. That's one of the problems that people have in the beginning when they're trying to get started is that they use the regular rope that they have at their local gym, and most of those ropes that the gyms buy aren't that great. So I would get try to get a decent rope first, and then the second thing is just try to do some shadow jumping without the rope to get your coordination down. And I'd say the third thing is to not think about it too much. You just have to try to jump, and then when you trip, everybody trips, so try not to get too upset about it. And if you're check to see if your rope is the right size. There are some measurements. There's stepping on the rope with one foot and bringing it up, and it should hit to the handle should hit the top of your shoulder, or getting a rope that's height plus 3 feet. So if you're 5'10", the rope should be 8'10". And I got a lot of ropes now. I've lost track. I should probably do an inventory. I don't even have a good answer for that one. Probably, I don't know, 30 or 40, something along those lines. There's quite a few. I have not bought a new jump rope. I have not bought a new jump rope since probably December. So it's been a long time. That's why I'm doing my year out reviews, the check-in reviews, because I don't know if I'm going to probably have to start giving some jump ropes away at this point because there's too many of them. And I think they'd be better served with other people using them because I don't. There's some that I don't really use all that often. I'm gonna go downstairs. Oh, I got about 8 more minutes, and I'd be happy to answer any more questions that you have. I appreciate everyone who's come in here. Yeah, I think some of them actually, that's a good question, Robert. Some of them do, and I've seen, but not very many, probably one or two, but not many. With the Army, we have this new test now that has to be passed for you to stay in the Army. It's a new physical fitness test. I think the jump rope would help with that test, but a lot of folks are not all that optimistic about it. So they've been trying to do the events for the test, but not too many of them. I'm in a part of the Army now where we don't do physical fitness together anymore. Because I moved out of that part of the Army, so I don't really get to do too much physical fitness with my fellow Army brothers and sisters anymore. And then put that in there with COVID-19 and the telework. So not too many of them, but there are some. Let me see. Yeah, 47, absolutely. You can learn. That's not that old. That's not old at all. There's a lot of people that learn to jump rope later on than that. So you can definitely do that. It might take you a little bit longer to get your stamina up than it would a 20-year-old, but yeah, don't worry about the age. Just go out there and do your best and it'll work out eventually. I think that a good example is probably Buddy Lee. He's like 64 now. And he's been jumping for a long time, but he's still moving pretty well. He's definitely not as fast as he used to be, for sure. But at his age, if you're still jumping at his age, then if he's still jumping at his age, then 47, you should be fine. I think you'll be good. Okay, let's see what we got here. Thanks a lot, jumping. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks a lot, Tic Tac. I appreciate your support. I'm grateful for all the support everybody shows. It's not easy out here on YouTube. Yeah, the Steelers. I don't watch sports too much anymore, but growing up, I liked the Eagles. But my grandparents used to live in Western Pennsylvania, about an hour from Pittsburgh. And also, I'm a big Andrew Carnegie fan. He did a lot of good in the world. And he set up shop in Pittsburgh and did a lot for the city of Pittsburgh. He did a lot for a lot of people. So that's why I wear the Steelers cap. Thanks a lot, Russell. I appreciate that. Oh, man. It's a weekend finally. Got a chance to relax. It's a nice day outside. Yeah, he was. One thing that Andrew Carnegie did a lot of great things, but one thing that he did that not a lot of people know about is he helped the black community out tremendously. He made a lot of donations to, I believe it was Tuskegee. He made a lot of donations to historically black colleges. Not a lot of people know that about him, but that was during a time when it was not popular for for white people to be supportive of black people. And he was a forward thinking man and really helped out the black community tremendously. Not a lot of people know that about him though. He didn't really brag about it too much. He didn't really brag about anything. He just donated all of his money before he died, which is amazing. He's got his biography, his autobiography is free on Audible. Yeah, I do have some beaded ropes, but I have not done any reviews on it. Beaded ropes are all right. They're not my favorite. It's probably because I don't know how to use them. I think that if Nate is still on, he probably is a much better source for beaded jump ropes because for me, it's been difficult to use them. But I'm not as proficient as Nate is, especially with beaded ropes. Yeah, he did a lot of great things for a lot of people. Andrew Carnegie did. I'm not sure. They're just more difficult to use, I guess. Maybe it's that the maybe it's the weight. I have no idea. Maybe I just haven't used them enough. That's probably the issue. Ah, I just haven't used them enough. Probably just a matter of preference. I wouldn't take what I say as gospel. Now I do releases. I can only do one of the two types of releases. I can't do the release where you do the flick off the wrist. I can do the release where you just throw the rope out to the side. But yeah, it's definitely not my strong move. Thanks a lot for the support. I appreciate that. It's 12 o'clock Eastern time. I got to get going so I can work on the video for this week and all that. And I appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the support. Glad you're still jumping. I think I might have missed a question here. Oh, double jumping? Yeah, I missed that question. Thank you. I'd say the only way to change that is to stop doing the double jumping. You gotta move away from what's comfortable. It's comfortable to do the double jumping, but if you keep doing it, then you'll keep doing it and you won't progress. So the best way to try to do the regular single jumping is to just step in that direction, even if it's uncomfortable, and just try it. The more you try it, the better you'll get at it, but just step in that direction. All right, everybody, take care. We'll be seeing you with another video here in the next day. I'm planning on getting the video out tomorrow by 11 o'clock as normal. I appreciate all the support. Thanks for tuning in to the 5,000 subscriber live stream. We'll do another one at the 6,000. All right, take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.